Hey, soldiers, this could be good news for Sam Bankman-Fried with regard to him possibly not being convicted. Something big just happened. Now, a lot of the news agencies like, ABC and like this one here from CNBC, they're reporting that he's had some of the charges dropped. That is not true. I'm not sure why they're reporting it like that. We're going to tell you what's really going on. We've been following Sam Bankman-Fried and that whole FTX implosion since the beginning. So this is a big development. We're going to follow it. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Enlist, become a soldier of finance. Everybody, go ahead now and get it out of the way. Hit the thumbs up button because this is definitely something that a lot of people are going to want to know about. A lot of people have money in these crypto exchanges, in crypto in general, and I know you want to keep track of what's going on in the industry. Hit the join button. Find out what we offer over there. We just uploaded new exclusive content that's going to help people achieve their financial goals and help them along the road to financial independence. All right? So let's talk about why this is going to be good news for Sam Bankman-Fried, possibly. And let me assure you, he hasn't had charges dropped like the news agencies, some of them are reporting. Judge splits charges against Sam Bankman-Fried, sets 2 criminal trials. Litigation in the Bahamas has thrown a wrench into FTX fraud case in the U.S. Okay, the Bahamas gets a bite at the apple because he was initially arrested down there. You remember he was held down there for a few days, and he's facing charges in the Bahamas. So, according to the international laws, which the United States Justice Department has to respect, not like our laws here in the United States of America. They don't really respect all of those or our Constitution, but that's a video for another day. In any event, they've got to respect what the Bahamas is saying with regard to this international law. A federal judge ruled Thursday that the criminal charges against Sam Bankman-Fried should be split into 2 trials after both prosecutors and the defense agreed that litigation in the Bahamas could delay the FTX founder's case. Now, that delay might be the good news for Sam Bankman-Fried, because let's say he goes in on the first go-round and let's say he gets convicted of a few of the charges, okay? At least they know now kind of what the prosecution is coming with, kind of what the strategy is. They get to see it in real time. Now, if you're thinking that the same could be true of the prosecution, okay, you're absolutely right. So that's why it could potentially be good news for Sam Bankman-Fried. But the United States prosecutor, Damian Williams, is no slouch. Okay, so this could possibly be a win for him as well. We'll see what happens. Bankman-Fried faces a total of 13 criminal charges connected to the implosion of cryptocurrency exchange FTX and was scheduled to go on trial on all counts on October 2nd. In his ruling, U.S. District Court Judge Lewis Kaplan ordered a separate trial on 5 of the charges that he tentatively scheduled for March 2024. Okay, so it's going to have 2 separate trials because we need to see what the Bahamas is going to do. So let me run that by you again. In Kaplan's ruling, he ordered a separate trial on 5 of the charges that he had scheduled for March 2024. Okay, so we're going to have 2 different trials. The trial in October will proceed on the other charges. Why the delay? Again, because of what the Bahamas is trying to decide. Prosecutors have twice expanded their case against Bankman-Fried since he was transferred to the U.S. from Bahamian custody in December. So this is anything but a dropping of charges, okay? All right, so he was transferred from the Bahamas in December, and he has new allegations that he conspired to commit bank fraud and bribe a Chinese official. He was wrongly charged, I'm playing the part of his lawyer. He was originally charged with 8 counts in an indictment that alleged he stole billions of dollars from customers and lenders. Now, again, these are allegations. Sam Bankman-Fried has not gone to trial yet. Although several people that were in his organization have pled guilty. They have pled guilty. Okay, he has not. So he has that presumption of innocence by the government. Bankman-Fried is 31 years old and had argued that without the consent of the Bahamas, the U.S. had violated the terms of his extradition. The treaty between the two countries requires that a host country approve the charges before the transfer of custody and any additional charges brought after the extradition. So the Bahamas, according to that treaty, they have to sign off on the charges that came later. Okay. Apparently, they originally were okay with the first set of charges, but they got to sign off on that second set. It's looking like that's going to cause a delay. Now, what happens if they don't do that, right? The Justice Department had conceded that it cannot move forward on the newer charges unless the Bahamas consents. A Bahamian judge earlier this week temporarily blocked authorities in the island nation from responding to the U.S. government's request for that consent, which has thrown a wrench into the prosecution's plans. Bankman-Fried is seeking to make additional legal arguments in the Bahamas against the added charges. Prosecutors late Wednesday consented to splitting the 13 counts that Bankman-Fried faces into different trials, a move the Justice Department had previously resisted. Okay, so this isn't the first choice of the prosecutors, but hey, I would imagine that they're trying to exert some sort of influence over the Bahamian decision, but to date, apparently that's not working. Prosecutors told Judge Kaplan at a hearing early Thursday that the October trial would be a week or two shorter if it proceeds on a smaller set of charges. So that's still on schedule, guys. All right, those first set of charges, they have not been dropped. Second set either. But that first set still on trial, on schedule rather, for the October date, the original October date. The bulk of Thursday's hearing focused on arguments by Bankman-Fried that most of the charges against him should be dismissed outright. And that's not out of the ordinary in terms of what you may see from a defendant trying to, just get rid of everything wholesale, right? Does it work? Rarely. Kaplan didn't rule from the bench on that request, but signaled he was unlikely to dismiss any counts before trial, given that defendants face a high legal bar for securing dismissal at the preliminary stages. Bankman-Fried's lawyers mounted a range of arguments on why they think the charges are improper. They said that some of the charges were now legally invalid in light of a Supreme Court decision last month that narrowed the scope of the federal wire fraud statute. Okay? These guys, man, I'm telling you, one thing Bankman-Fried has, of course, is some top-notch attorneys. They also said the government was attempting to make a criminal case out of matters that traditionally would have been handled through civil enforcement. Now, I can already hear some of the soldiers in the comments section saying, I told you he wasn't going to jail. And hey, look, you might be right, because the government has to prove, I've always said this, government has to prove their case, okay? Sam Bankman-Fried has a right to put up a defense, okay? So if the government is not able to convince this jury that these charges are, amount to something, if the defense is able to come up and counter the prosecution's arguments effectively, he may not go to jail, okay? But that remains to be seen. Prosecutors said their case was legally sound and met all the necessary requirements. You wrote great papers, made good targeted arguments, Kaplan told the lawyers. Now it's my turn. All right, so he's going to move forward, okay, with the separate trials. Prosecution, of course, they're going to, continue to do their thing to try to make sure that they're effective when they go into court on this very high profile case. And a lot's riding on this for Damian Williams, the prosecutor. He doesn't get this right. It could be a blight on his career, but we shall see. And a whole lot's riding on it with regard to Sam Bankman-Fried, right? This is his life. This guy's 31 years old, looking at spending the rest of his life in prison, if he's charged with or convicted and given sentenced to the max. All right, guys, I want you to take a look at this particular video. Now, this is talking about how California has just gone wild. You will not believe, and this would, if it passes, this is going to court, okay? You won't believe what some of the sick bastards in California are up to now. And I'm talking about in that state's legislature, okay? It's just authoritarian. It's downright, when you really think about it, it is insane. Guys, watch that video. I'll talk to you soon.